There is a strange irony most men never notice. They chase younger women with confidence, money, and charisma, yet the ones who win them are often the men who understand something far more powerful: psychology. Because desire isn't born from looks or wealth. It's born from how a woman feels when she's with you. And younger women, no matter how unpredictable they seem, are not a mystery. They are a pattern waiting to be solved. Welcome to Psychology of Desire. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, because this channel isn't about cheesy dating lines or pickup tricks. It's about real psychology, emotional intelligence, and the dark truths most people are afraid to say out loud. Now listen closely, because today we go from stereotype to reality. Not what society says younger women want, not what your friends assume, but what actually makes a young woman choose one man and ignore another. You might think they only care about looks, money, or status. But if that were true, every rich man would be loved and every handsome man would be respected. Yet you and I both know reality doesn't work that way. Some men have everything on paper: wealth, muscles, luxuries. Yet a younger woman feels nothing for them. And then there's the quiet older man she can't stop thinking about. The one who says less, but means more. The one who doesn't try to impress her, because he doesn't need to. You see, younger women live in a world full of boys pretending to be men. Guys their age chase attention, validation, and games. They want to be liked. They want to be chosen. But a real man doesn't chase. He is the destination. And the moment a woman feels that difference, something shifts inside her. It's no longer about age. It's about energy. Here's what most men never understand. A younger woman doesn't want a hero. She wants a feeling. A feeling of emotional protection. A feeling of safety. A feeling that her heart is not a toy in someone's hands, but a treasure someone understands. When a younger woman chooses an older man, or even a mature younger one, it's often because he offers something she has never felt with boys her age: stability with intensity, calm with mystery, strength without arrogance, and most importantly, emotional intelligence. You don't control her with words. You control her with understanding. Because a younger woman isn't impressed when you tell her how strong you are. She's impressed when you don't break under pressure. She isn't attracted to a man who shows off his money, but to the one who isn't defined by it. She doesn't fall for the man who talks about respect. She falls for the man who earns it without asking. Dark psychology teaches one powerful truth. Attraction isn't created by what you give her. It's created by what she feels afraid to lose. When you become the calm in her chaos, when your presence feels like home in a world full of noise, she becomes addicted. Not to your face, not to your body, not to your wallet, to your energy. Because younger women don't want perfection. They want contrast, depth, a man who can be gentle but unshakable, soft with his heart but sharp with his mind, a man who can understand her feelings without being ruled by his own. And that is where most men fail. They try to impress. They try to prove themselves. They try to win her approval. But the men who truly attract younger women are the ones she feels safe enough to surrender to, not because he demanded her, but because she chose him. But there's something even deeper that most men overlook. A younger woman doesn't want to feel like she's dating a father figure or a supervisor. She doesn't want to be controlled, lectured, or owned. She wants a man who can guide her, without caging her, challenge her, without belittling her, inspire her, without needing to dominate her. Because in a world full of insecurity and jealousy, a confident man becomes a rare kind of oxygen, the kind she breathes without fear. Younger women are surrounded by noise, social media pressure, competition, attention, judgment, expectations. Everyone wants something from them. Everyone expects them to behave a certain way. Everyone thinks they know her based on her age. But when she meets a man who sees her soul before her beauty, she feels something she has never felt before: peace. And peace is addictive. She doesn't stay because you look strong. She stays because with you, she feels soft. She doesn't fall for you because you flirt well. She falls because she can finally stop pretending. Every younger woman wants someone who understands her contradictions, the fire and the vulnerability, the confidence and the quiet insecurities. She wants a man who can handle her emotions without telling her she's too much. And this is where maturity becomes a weapon. A mature man doesn't get scared when a woman feels deeply. He doesn't run from tears. He doesn't panic when she's upset. He understands that emotions are not weakness. They are proof she's opened the gates and let him inside. You want to know the real reason younger women fall harder for emotionally intelligent men? Because he hears what she's not saying. When she says, "I'm fine," he knows she's not. When she pushes him away, he doesn't abandon her. He stands still. When she gets quiet, he pays attention. When she needs space, he gives it without disappearing. Younger women are used to boys who only understand physical intimacy. But psychological intimacy, that's a different world. The man who gets inside her mind owns her heart. And here's the dark part. Once a woman feels emotionally understood by a man, no one else compares. You become the standard. Every message from another guy feels boring. Every date feels empty. Every compliment feels shallow. Why? Because once the mind is touched, the body follows. This is why younger women go crazy for men who have patience. Not the lazy, silent type, the silent confidence type, the man who speaks when he needs to, the man who listens more than he talks, the man who can walk into a room and change the energy without saying a word. She doesn't want drama. She's already had enough of that. She wants direction, mystery, confidence, and emotional honesty. And the men who provide that, no matter their age, become unforgettable. So, if you've ever wondered why a younger woman suddenly starts texting you more, opening up to you, or trusting you with her secrets, it's not random. It's psychological. She feels safe. And the moment she feels safe in your presence, something powerful happens. Her guard falls, and her attraction rises. There's another truth most men never recognize. Younger women are not attracted to perfection. They're attracted to presence. When you look at her without rushing, when you speak with intention, when you touch her without taking. Boys rush intimacy. Men build tension. And tension is where desire lives. Younger women are surrounded by men who want quick attention, quick validation, quick answers. But when she meets a man who is patient, she feels chosen, not used. She feels valued, not consumed. And this is where you separate yourself from the rest. Because presence is a silent language. The way you listen, not just to her words, but to her pauses. The way you remember the things she didn't even think mattered. The way you look at her like she's art, not a trophy. That kind of attention is rare, and rare becomes irresistible. But let's go deeper into the psychology. Younger women crave emotional polarity. They want a man who makes them feel safe, but also desired. A man who respects them, but also challenges them. Too much softness feels weak. Too much dominance feels controlling. But the balance, protective confidence, and warm understanding, that is the combination that melts defenses. When you can be strong without being cold, calm without being boring, distant enough to be mysterious but close enough to be real. She feels drawn to you in a way she can't logically explain. And here's where dark psychology enters. A younger woman doesn't just fall for how a man treats her in the good moments. She falls harder for how he responds in the difficult ones. When she pulls away emotionally, most men panic. They chase, they overreact, they try harder. But the man who stays centered, the man who gives her space without guilt-tripping her, the man who can handle silence without collapsing, he becomes the man she trusts, because she sees something dangerous in him. Control. Not control over her, control over himself. And emotional self-control is one of the most powerful masculine traits a woman feels. It makes her wonder, why doesn't he chase like the others? Why isn't he desperate? Why doesn't he need me to validate him? And those questions create curiosity. Curiosity becomes attraction. Attraction becomes attachment. You don't win her by being available every second. You win her by being worth waiting for. And the truth is, younger women aren't searching for a man with the perfect life. They're searching for a man who can handle real life. Someone who doesn't crumble under pressure. Someone whose emotions don't explode at every inconvenience. Someone who is emotionally dangerous in the best way, calm, controlled, and unpredictable in a seductive, confident manner. Because when she's with you, she feels something none of her past experiences could give her. She feels like a woman, not a girl, not an object, not a prize, a woman. And when a woman feels like a woman in your presence, she will do anything to stay there. But let's destroy one myth forever. Younger women are not looking for a man to fix them. They're looking for a man who understands them. There's a difference. A young woman who chooses an emotionally mature man isn't looking for a savior. She's looking for a partner she can grow with. Someone who sees who she is now and who she can become. Because younger women know something older men often forget. Love doesn't die because of distance or arguments or differences. Love dies when people stop feeling seen. And that is why emotional intelligence is not just attractive, it's lethal. A younger woman wants a man who sees her potential before she sees it herself. When she's insecure, you give her reassurance without coddling her. When she doubts herself, you remind her of her strength, not with empty compliments, but with truth. When she makes mistakes, you don't judge her. You help her learn from them. A boy tries to impress her. A man inspires her. A mature man elevates her. That's why younger women fall for men who make them feel something rare, growth. Because with the right man, she becomes a better version of herself. Not through pressure, but through presence. And here's something darker, something most men will never understand. Younger women do not fall for men who want them. They fall for men they admire. The man who has ambitions. The man with self-respect. The man who doesn't beg for attention. The man whose life has structure, purpose, and direction. Because when a woman sees you committed to your goals, your standards, your identity, she feels safe trusting you with her heart. But the minute she feels like you need her more than you love yourself, attraction dies. Not because she's cold, not because she's selfish, but because something inside her loses respect. Women follow strength, not weakness. Emotional depth, not emotional chaos. Masculine certainty, not masculine confusion. So what do younger women want in relationships? Truly, deeply, honestly? They want a man who can lead without controlling. A man who can love without losing himself. A man whose silence is stronger than other men's words. A man who doesn't force her to choose between freedom and loyalty, because with him, she feels both. And when a younger woman finds that kind of man, age becomes irrelevant, society becomes irrelevant, opinions become irrelevant, because she knows deep down, men like him are rare. Rare men are unforgettable. Unforgettable men are irreplaceable. And younger women don't leave what they fear they might never find again. But there's one more truth, the deepest one, the one most people will never admit out loud. Younger women don't fall for a man because he is older. They fall because he is different. Different from the boys who play games. Different from the men who brag. Different from the ones who pretend to be strong, but break the moment life stops going their way. A younger woman wants a man whose presence feels like gravity, calm, unshakable, impossible to ignore. The kind of man who doesn't raise his voice to prove a point. Because his silence says more than most men's shouting. The kind of man who doesn't chase her attention. Because he already knows his value. And this is what separates you from everyone else. You don't need to control her to keep her. You don't need to impress her to deserve her. You don't need to be perfect to be desired. You just have to be real. Because younger women aren't impressed by the man who hides his scars. They're drawn to the man who survived them. A man with emotional history. A man with lessons in his voice. A man whose touch feels safe, not desperate. A man who could walk away if he wanted to, but chooses to stay. That choice, that calm confidence, is what breaks her defenses. She doesn't want a man who treats her like a child. She wants a man who treats her like a woman, capable of passion, loyalty, depth, and understanding. When she argues, you stay rational. When she's emotional, you stay grounded. When she tests you, you stay unshaken. Because a strong woman will always test a man's character before she gives him her heart, not out of manipulation, but protection. She isn't trying to hurt you. She's trying to see if you are real. And when she realizes your calm isn't weakness, but power, she surrenders in the most feminine, vulnerable way. Not because you forced her, not because you manipulated her, but because her soul finally found a place to rest. So what do younger women want in a relationship? Not perfection, not money, not muscles, not promises. They want a man whose presence feels like the answer. A man she can admire. A man she can respect. A man she can trust with her heart, her secrets, her fears, and her dreams. And when a younger woman finds him, she doesn't compare him. She doesn't replace him. She doesn't let him go. Because at the end of the day, every woman, younger or older, wants the same thing. A man who makes her feel like she is safe in a dangerous world and desired in a numb one. If you become that man, age is not a barrier. Age is not a disadvantage. Age becomes your advantage. Because maturity is attractive, consistency is attractive, emotional strength is attractive, psychological depth is addictive, and the man who understands a woman's mind will always own her heart.